Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Quarry Season 1, Episode 6. It's called His Deeds Were Scattered. Full spoilers for the episode will follow. So, this was very much a continuation of things from last week that I wouldn't have expected there to be more of.
No, because we kind of said that last week as well, didn't we? Where they brought it back up, and we'd said, "Oh, it was just a passing comment before," and then we were surprised that it came up again.
Yeah, but I almost expected, that this whole bus attack that happened last week where the racist guy had beat up the kid. I thought that was what it was, but
Yeah,
it's continued here because the guy is getting out of prison on technicalities because there's a lack of evidence. And this incurs a curfew, and we get a sense of the racial tensions because even though it says they claim it's citywide, the black characters kind of perceive it as only being in the black neighborhoods.
yeah,
And so we get a real, a greater sense at the time. And we've seen other things that have been hinted at throughout, like Mac's father, when Johnny has him over to sort of evaluate the house to see what they can sell it for. Behind Mac's back, should we add.
he devalues it a lot based on the incoming black neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, it's not so much the incoming black neighborhood as such. I mean, that's mentioned, but it's more that because of where they are, the local school will be.
Yeah, but he also mentions that he expects black people to come because someone's just family's just moved in across the
No, he
road.
does mention that, but that's not the core thing. The core thing is that the school will be 80% black kids because of where they are, and because the
Yeah.
schools are mixing, it kind of devalues the house, and it it's all these things that have been kind of been mentioned building up to this and coming up, and we get it again like when Mac's taking the kid to school, because he feels like he wants to keep him safe. And they have that sort of awkward conversation where Mac's talking about his mother and how he knows what it's like to lose a parent at a young age.
Mm.
And you can see everyone staring at him as he drives them to school because obviously it's a black school at this time. And it's all black kids and black parents that are all surrounded and they see him pull up.
Yeah.
So you get a real sense of that tension throughout.
It reminds me of last week, where Joni arrived at their house and the black guys kind of were like, "What are you doing here?" It was a similar thing to that at the school, just without the actual intervention from them, just more the judging looks.
Yeah, it was just looks. It was all looks and no words. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's obviously a big theme in this episode, and it's one that kind of reveals a lot more about the broker in a weird way that we necessarily didn't see coming. Like, it's funny because obviously the fat character, we'll call him, from last week, we obviously found out at the end that Carl was following him, even though the broker had claimed that he was just a random person. But it revealed at the end that Carl was following him, so he couldn't have been that random. There was something to him,
Yeah.
and we get a lot of sort of Carl listening to recordings of telephone calls in this, and it links this guy with the attacker from the last episode. And you're not quite sure what the link is, although I suspect now that as the episode went on, I sort of pieced it together that he supplied the bomb that
Yeah.
this guy was trying to plant on a school bus. Which, by the way, this guy immediately just,
Yeah, like it was one thing when he was beating up a kid. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was bad.
yeah, it's
Like, it
awful.
was. But you go, okay, just leave it at that. I mean, even because he gets out of prison, they let him go, and he's like, "Oh, it wasn't me, but I'd shake the hand of the man that did it."
Yeah.
And then, but to go from that to no, I'm gonna blow this up. That is a massive step up.
Yeah, the guy's clearly unhinged. And it's funny because when Matt gets the job, it's kind of like, I'm okay with this kill.
Yeah, it's kind of poetic justice, isn't
Yeah,
it?
and Joni is kind of against it because she sees there's a lot of controversy, there's a lot of heat on this. His death might even cause more trouble. Because they could, people could take it as someone who's black has done this as a.
That's probably what we're gonna get next episode. I
Yeah.
say that we're probably not knowing this show because I've just
Yeah.
made that claim.
But you could see a certain group of white people reacting as if this has been retaliation,
Yes.
and it might escalate things, and that is no good for anyone. But of course, the big reveal at the end, of course, is that the broker himself is the guy who put out the contract. This wasn't something he claimed it was a contract he got from another client, like he normally does. But we find out at the end that it seems like it was just him. that he himself
Yeah.
has taken an issue with what this guy's done, and
Which is very interesting because it's a question of why. Is it just a case of he thinks he deserves to die because it's a moral judgment, or is it that he wants to escalate the race war?
that's a very good. I actually hadn't thought of that as a possibility. That is an interesting point. I didn't take it as that, and I think the reason why I didn't take it as that is A, because we've seen repeatedly that he's kind of an okay guy.
He is.
For all intents and purposes, he's been a very sort of man of his word, upstanding kind of guy. Sure, he's a client, he's like a sort of middleman for hitmen, but he seems to be an upstanding guy otherwise. And we see the scene in this episode where they go to the park and it's named after the black guy who saved a bunch of kids, which is what the episode is called after because it was part of the plaque that was there commemorating it. Apologies for my cat who's been very noisy in the background, folks. And we get this sense, and we also know that he works with Buddy, who we see a little bit more of this episode. We haven't seen him in a couple. And we see that he's still kind of in the same place. He wants to get out of the life that he's in. And we also get an interesting little moment when he's at bingo with his mother, where she even comments on this Linwood guy. And she's clearly of the opinion that he's a nut job and he should be strung up.
Yes, definitely.
Which I think works because it gives us a different perspective on what's going on, from a completely different person that's not related to anything.
Yeah, it works coming from a white person as well.
Yeah. But the point I was getting at was that we already know that he works with Buddy, and Buddy's gay. And again, it's the 70s, times aren't what they are now. So it's kind of like, and we know that he works with, is it Felix, the guy who's sort of like chatting up Ruth and...
Oh, okay, I know you, yeah.
Yeah, the bassist. So yeah, it's really building up the broker. Like, his character's really evolving really nicely as the season goes on, because it feels like we're learning more about what his beliefs are and what his...
I still feel, though, he could be pushing for the race war as a way of pushing for equalization, almost. Like, as a way of getting the black people to stand up, and then it would overcome the issues, maybe, like once they've put themselves forward. Maybe it's like trying to give them a push to fight back and stand up for themselves.
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if that's a great plan. Like, he may be doing that, but I don't know if I agree.
I'm not saying
that.
I'm not saying it's a good plan. I'm saying just reasons why he could be trying to escalate it.
I think I just kind of took it as he was just disgusted with what he'd done and he wanted them dead. Like I took it more at face value. I think because it feels like it's been presented that way.
No, that's fair.
I think maybe if this was like episode 1 or 2, I maybe have been as skeptical as you seem to be being, but it was because we've got to know him a little bit over the season, and I feel like as much as he lied about the fat guy last episode and how he was not random, I feel like he is fairly at face value.
I agree with that, but that's kind of my thing. I feel like it's so obvious and presented that way that maybe there is something else to it. Because we've seen he's very capable at planning things and organizing and scheming. So it just makes me wonder what else he has going on that we don't know.
Yeah, maybe. So, yeah, and, once again, this show, with its fantastic filmmaking, when Mac does go after Linwood, as soon as he sees him and the music kicks in and we get the drive and we get the trip to the school bus sort of depot, and we see him break in, and there's this fantastic sort of like really high up shot of just this maze of school buses.
Yeah, it just looks down at this.
Yeah.
So good.
And we see, Linwood walking through and Max stalking from behind and like hiding behind various buses, and it's just, this long shot. And there's even other moments, like one moment that really impressed me is when we see Felix, he's a bassist. That's like, even though he does stuff for the broker, that's what he wants to do. And we see him like basically get his job taken away because some other guy's shown up late and he gets booted. When he leaves, he storms off and he goes in his car. We see the camera like sort of, he's with the guy who's telling him to leave, and the camera follows the car go round the corner, and as it comes back round, we find the same person standing there who just like left. So he was out of the shot and then he came back in at the end.
Yeah.
because the camera finds him again, and it's just simple little moments like that where it really lets the moment, take a breath and
Yeah.
just let you experience it.
And to
And
speak of the bigger moments in terms of the camera work, the explosion looks gorgeous.
yeah, the explosion was
That
great.
slow mo shot, where it does it like head on.
Yeah, and it felt like it was mostly practical as well. It didn't feel like it was. I mean, I'm sure there's some CG touching it up. I have no doubt.
Yeah, but they probably bought a school bus and blew it up.
Yeah, it's not that unrealistic to think they could have just done that.
Hey, if Top Gear can do it, Quarry can.
Sure, but yeah, all of that because the whole thing's very tense. It's very very suspenseful as he's like stalking him and he's looking on from afar, and they get on the bus, and that's when you realise what he's doing, because you don't really, because you almost expect that he's just going to graffiti on the buses or something like that. He's going to maybe put racial slurs on the side of the bus, but then you see him like try to put like some plastic explosives under the seat, and you're like, oh geez, like the guy's
Yeah.
serious.
And then obviously when Mac, because at first he has the gun out, and then he just kind of wails on him instead.
Oh yeah, that is a fantastic moment. See when he just starts like pummeling him, and you can see the anger in every single punch.
Yeah.
This is personal. So no, and again we spoke about how last week how by the time we get to the end of the season, like Mac might want to keep doing this, and I feel like a hit like this where he got to enact justice as it were for something
Yeah.
that was done wrong. Maybe this is another example of something that will spur him on to keep doing this.
I can see him maybe agreeing to stay with the broker on the condition that he picks the targets that he does. So he gets to choose the ones like this and not just take everything and anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also worth mentioning this is the first hit we've actually seen Mac do since really episode 1, I think.
Yeah.
Like in terms of actually getting a job and going and doing it.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah. But no. Also, we actually didn't mention the opening, and I feel like again,
Yeah.
fantastic filmmaking, but it's following Mac as he's butt-ass naked, like running through the house like he's still in Vietnam with his shotgun and not responding to Joni at all. And
I think I love how good filmmaking is because he doesn't say anything. We have her perspective, but we instantly know this is like PTSD. He's still at war in his head.
yeah,
Like you know exactly what's going on just from the way he's acting.
yeah. And in fact, I don't think you get it right, because obviously as the episode starts and he's just loading up a shotgun, you do think maybe there's a threat outside. Maybe this is going to be one of those things where it cuts back to 2 days earlier and
Yeah.
build up to what the threat is.
But it's the way he's
Yeah.
walking to the windows, going to the back, and like crouching over, and it's the way he's acting very clearly.
As the scene goes on, you get that he's like doing this isn't just him like. There's not just a threat outside. This is him acting like a soldier. This is So, no, that was all very good. Again, I don't think the season has failed us yet in terms of openings. Like they've all been
Spectacular.
either from like a tense point of view or a intriguing point of view or just a emotional. They've all had something. They've all had some hook. That when it goes to that title and it types in, the typewriter comes in and we hear it. They always has like a bit of impact. I always feel like, all right, I'm back in this world.
And I always find they're some of the most well-directed moments of the episode. Not that the rest of the episode ever suffers, but I always find the openings stick out that extra bit more.
I think it's because they go overly artistic with it because they want to make this big dramatic point coming into the episode.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah. But no, it's a very good episode. Absolutely. Again, the show is continually impressing me.
It is. I don't understand where this came from. It's out of nowhere, and it's like, damn, this is so good.
Here's a question. Do you think that Felix is still just working for the broker, or do you think he has feelings for Ruth?
I'm going to say he has feelings. That's why he reacts the way he does. When the curfew, he's shouting.
And the cops are, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see that. And obviously Ruth's son has a moment of rebellion and goes outside anyway, and he comes out and deals with that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why I think he has feelings, because if it was just working for the broker, he could kind of do the bare minimum. But he's so far committed into this that I think it's become real if it wasn't before.
Yeah. No, and obviously we learn more about him just as a character because we did get this whole side of him where he is a bassist and that's what he wants to do. And music actually was a very big theme in this episode. Like we kept cutting to like performances in either bars or clubs. Max in the record store at one point looking for music, and there's like a person playing guitar and singing along.
And obviously we had the stuff with the detective.
Yeah, the detective picks up a dead guy's guitar.
I can't remember his name. It was like 5 episodes ago.
I know the one Joni was having an affair with. But he's like growing closer to his sister, and there's not a lot of it in the episode. It's just we see that they sort of meet up again and they have sex. But the one sort of big prominent plot point that comes out of it is that this guy was writing songs about Joni, so he has this connective dot now. You know?
Yeah, feels like he's starting to close in a bit. He's finally on the right path.
Yeah, and also they found Peg Leg's dead body. I'm never going to stop calling him Peg Leg. I just want you to know that.
What's the point? He's dead.
Yeah. But no, fantastic episode again.
Very much was.
It did a really good job of building almost every character. Like I felt like they all got progression in this episode. Felix obviously we hadn't had any of before really. The broker got a big character sort of bit of progression, as did Joni to an extent as well.
Buddy did too.
Buddy did as well. Like I feel like the show more than anything else, it's using its time very wisely. Sure, the episodes are they're long cable episodes of TV as opposed to like a network 40 minutes, but I feel like every episode is advancing plots with everyone that's in them. And if there's no plot to advance with that character, they're just not in the episode. There's a reason why Buddy wasn't in the last two, because
which I think is one of the it's almost a brave choice, because most shows, even if they don't have something for the character, they just have to have them there.
Yeah, to remind us they exist.
Whereas it's like now, it's trusting the audience to go, no, you know this person from 3 weeks ago. It's fine. You know what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, think of episode 4, which is the one that we loved. I mean, that ignores almost every character other than Mac, Joni, and Pegleg.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's Quarry, guys. Let us know what you thought of this episode and where you think things are going and all that stuff. Unless you've read the book, we don't want spoilers, so don't do that. So thanks very much for watching. Keep watching TV. We will see you next time.